Welcome process management experts to our best practice in process management video post. I'm Thomas.
I'm Mirko.
And we are working in the best practice in process management project. And in this video post we would like to show you the results of part 1 of our first workshop in January 2012. The topic was process modeling. And the participants of the workshop were from various business fields like aviation, defense, production industry, and even one service company.
A small one was participating in the workshop as well, yeah.
And with the results of the workshops, we were able to answer some questions like which detail levels to choose for modeling and how and what information to link to processes, when and where to define in and outputs, what's the right displaying complexity, and the last one, how to describe responsibilities within processes. And along that questions, we will present our results.
Yeah, right. So let's have a look onto the first one. Before we start, I have to say, and as you can see on the slide, we called it common practice or promising practices. I'm not sure if we are really talking about best practices. For sure, they are good practices. So that's important to know that we don't want to say that this is best practice at the moment because we only discuss it with 6 different organizations. Yes. And but it's common practice.
Common practice we could see at various companies in the workshops.
Yeah. And
promising practice were nice ideas, but no common practice and common use of that.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah.
Yes. So concerning the levels to choose for modeling, we could identify that nearly every company used process maps at the highest level of process description and also the lowest level of detail.
Right, yeah.
Processes were divided into management, core, and support processes.
Yeah, that was quite common that everybody used these 3 different types of processes on the process maps.
Yes.
Yeah.
The number of levels was not specified, so that when you click on a process in a process map, it could be that you get to another process map and so on, and at last, yes, you will get to the next level, process descriptions. There was no really common practice. It seemed to be that every company models their processes well
in a very customized way that fits to the company,
and requirements, and yes,
that's true.
We saw EPC for modeling, and
top down.
Yes.
Most time, but not always, but most of the time use top down. Yeah.
And BPMN, some used swimming lanes, some didn't.
Yeah, that's true. So somehow it was comparable but different. But everybody had this level of detail that they had process descriptions in the end with activities and so on. Yeah.
Yes. And at the end, the highest level of detail were documents that could be linked to processes or tasks in processes.
Yeah. And then there was one thing that you indicated as promising practice.
Yes, that was a nice idea. One company had the possibility the software could deliver to have a choice between 2 different types of visualization. And one was the full view, where you saw
the whole picture with all the arrows between the activities and so on.
And there was a slim view that shows the process in a tabularic form without rows and so on.
Just
the
quick
tasks.
overview.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that was the first one. Let's have a look onto the second topic. And I really love this topic. We called it process dashboard. So the question was what to integrate into the processes, and we saw several nice implementations of how to present this information and to create a process dashboard, an overview management capable, so easy to understand, all the information on the point on one picture, where we had the input and the output of the process, and the goals as well as the key performance indicators on one picture. Also, risks were integrated in 2 of these examples, and you could see the resources and tools that were necessary to perform the process, and finally the roles involved into the process. Just on one picture, you can put it onto a slide or just print it out A4, so an overview process dashboard.
And it's based on the Turtle methodology and
known from ISO
yes.
standards, for example, certification audits. Yeah, right. That was something that I personally really liked.
So the next question, when and where to define in and output. We could identify that common practice is first to identify in and output when process changes.
Mm-hmm. At the borders,
yes,
when you
exactly.
switch from one to another process,
and yes, and within the processes, input and output was described whenever responsibilities change, so tasks are performed by different roles.
Right. There was even one example where you were not able to link 2 processes as long as the input doesn't match the output of the other process. Yeah.
There was a nice idea of one company where within the process maps the processes are linked with arrows, and they used it, I guess, to identify bottlenecks and critical paths.
Yeah, that's also an interesting or promising practice.
Yes.
So we could go into more detail later on. Yeah. Okay, so that's about our findings concerning input and output. Then complexity, something I also very like to talk about.
That's an example from Lufthansa Technik, actually, the picture you see there. We are just using 3 kinds of objects.
Yeah, and that's obviously common practice. So
yes.
All the companies reduced their number of objects. But let's continue with our example.
Yes. On the left side, the yellow one, are the roles that perform the tasks that are, in the swimming lane at the right. And decisions are some sort of diamonds. Mm-hmm. And activities are just gray boxes.
Yeah, and we have some red boxes. They indicate that there was an update in this activity during the last revision of the process. Yeah, okay.
We could also see that most companies reduce the number of operators they use, or even don't use operators.
Yeah, like and or.
But we could see that it wasn't really necessary to understand the processes to have operators.
So just reduced complexity.
Yes.
Yeah, so easy to understand, even without. Okay, so that was about the way to describe the processes. It reduced complexity. And then, what about responsibilities? What common practices did we have?
Everyone seems to use roles to describe responsibilities.
Doesn't matter if they're using EPCs or BPMN, everybody used roles and assigned these roles to the activities.
Yes. And the roles are, of course, I guess, linked to qualifications or, duties.
There was also one example where they linked the process management system to the SAP to automatically assign IT rights, for example, to the employees. Mm-hmm. So connection between the 2 systems. So that was somehow promising for us. And finally, the last insight.
Who's modeling the processes? Who puts them into the system? It was common practice, and it is, of course, seem to be that the modeling is done in teams. You have a process modeler who's skilled in the tool and the methodology.
Especially trained for moderating process modeling sessions, for example. Yeah.
The process owner who's responsible for the process, and finally the process experts who perform the process every day and know it very well.
Yeah, so that was common practice, that not one person is doing the whole job alone.
Yes.
They are doing that in teams to get all the knowledge into the process modeling or into the processes in the end. Yeah, that's it, or?
Yes.
So these were the key findings of the process modeling workshop that we had. For sure, there were much more insights during the discussion, which we haven't put onto the slides, but for sure they are worth discussing them in more detail later on. And there are other topics that we will discuss, and we already discussed. The integration of legislative and normative requirements into the process. So this will be the next video post. But more topics are coming up. Process management roles is one of the next workshop topics.
And what was it? Organization-wide standardized process model.
Yeah, how broad and how detailed processes are described within an organization. Yeah. So if you would like to receive the updates of the other posts, then subscribe to our blog. You can find the address down there. And see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for watching our video.